On to Deani, who slams it home.
Run at the right from the left block. Layup good.
Parker drives it through the hole to right. Hunt comes around to score. The Cavs win. Pierman dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Cavaliers. Cavalier Sports Weekly is presented by the Virginia Lottery. The Virginia Lottery, helping Virginia's public schools. And brought to you in part by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. On this edition of Cavalier Sports Weekly, presented by the Virginia Lottery.
I'm not afraid to go to a third world country and spend a big chunk of my time.
Welcome to Cavalier Sports Weekly. I'm Quinn from the women's soccer team. We're in the middle of finals at UVA. So on today's show, we're going to look back at some of the best team and individual performances from 2008. We'll start with Samdev Devarman in our Play of the Week.
The Play of the Week is brought to you by SunTrust Mortgage. We make the American dream come true every day.
7 aces against just 2 double faults, and now 2 points away. Make it 1 point away on his 8th ace out wide. Samdev Devarman now with triple NCAA championship point.
Came out really fired up today, and I knew it was going to be really tough. Leading up to the match, I was so nervous, but once I came into the match, my heart carried me through.
And there it is, serve out wide, and Samdev Devarman will put his name in the NCAA record books for a long, long time.
Stay tuned. Virginia game highlights are coming up next.
Carroll's going to crank. Got it! Virginia wins! 13-12.
Welcome back to the show. With no game scheduled this week, we decided to devote our Cavalier game highlight segment to the very best team performances from 2008. We start back in February, over 2,000 miles from Charlottesville.
The Cavalier game highlights are presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. The first major championship victory for a Virginia team in 2008 came in mid-February in Seattle, Washington, when the men's team knocked off Penn State, UCLA, and Mississippi to face Ohio State in the finals of the ITA National Indoor Championship. Led by the nation's #1 ranked player and eventual NCAA individual champion, Samdev Devarman, the Cavaliers jumped out to a commanding 3-1 lead before Devarman's fellow fourth-year co-captain, Tret Huey, clinched the victory in a second-set tiebreaker. In April, the team successfully defended their ACC championship, and a month later, they would reach the semifinals of the NCAA championship, completing the greatest season by a men's tennis team in the history of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Shortly after the men's tennis triumph in Seattle, the Virginia men's and women's swimming and diving teams took center stage. The women's team captured their 6th ACC championship in spectacular style, outpacing runner-up North Carolina by 228 points. The victory was a classic team effort highlighted by 3 relay victories and individual titles won by first-year swimmers Claire Crippen and Liz Shaw. 1 week after Coach Mark Bernardino's women's team dominated the lanes in Atlanta, his men dove into the same pool and produced an even greater margin of victory over the rest of the conference. By a margin of 273 points, it was Virginia's 11th ACC title in men's swimming and the 4th time in Bernardino's career that the men and women captured the ACC championship in the same year.
We believe that we have what it takes to win, and I think that is a big reason why we've been successful every time.
Carroll back to Bratton on the near side.
Virginia's men's lacrosse team reached the Final Four for the 19th time in school history, and along the way provided tremendous excitement for Cavalier fans with a total of 4 overtime victories against Syracuse, Johns Hopkins, North Carolina, and Maryland. The Cavaliers women's lacrosse team completed another stellar season as they captured their third consecutive ACC championship with a thrilling overtime victory over Maryland. Other Virginia programs that turned in exceptional seasons included women's rowing and women's golf. Coach Kevin Sauer's rowers finished 5th in the NCAA championship and captured their 9th consecutive ACC championship, extending the longest streak of ACC championships ever among UVA teams. The women's golf team finished 13th at the NCAA championship, and at the conclusion of the 2008 fall season were ranked 4th in the nation, the highest ranking in the history of the program. In the fall campaign, men's and women's soccer were once again securely in the nation's top 20 in the NCAA tournament, while head coach Michelle Madison's field hockey team was ranked as high as 8th and reached the quarterfinals of the NCAA championship. But the most impressive performance late in 2008 came from men's cross country. Behind overall individual champion Ryan Foster, the Cavaliers captured their second straight ACC title and just a few weeks later completed their season with a 14th place finish at the NCAAs.
A lot of college students use their summer vacations to relax, maybe work a little bit. But fourth-year wrestler Pete Ferrara took a whole different approach to his 2008 summer break, and that is why he is your Student Athlete of the Week.
The Student Athlete of the Week is brought to you by the Cavalier Team Shop online, where every purchase benefits academic support for UVA student athletes.
The first time I went, the summer before college, we were only there a week, and it just wasn't enough, and it was obvious to our host. So they left the invitation to come back whenever we'd liked. I wanted more experience in the hospital. I wanted more experience using the language because I'm a Spanish minor, and the opportunity was open. I asked them via email, and it was pretty simple. They said, give us a date and a time, and we'd be happy to see you. I caught a flight from Newark, New Jersey, to straight to Honduras. You have to go through one of the largest cities called San Pedro Sula. I caught a small flight to La Ceiba, and from there it's about an hour drive into the boonies, and you're there. Our host's home was built almost on the side of this hill, and it's very nice. You look out towards the coastal side, so it's built on the side of a mountain. You can kind of view out to the coast, and then underneath is the town. The village is Belfate, and it's basically one road. There's maybe 30 houses on it, and of course, almost right smack in the middle is the soccer field. Our host is a family that have been down there for 8 years, and the father of the family is a primary physician, family physician, and I would spend the first half of my day shadowing him in the missionary hospital. One of the missions of the hospital was to provide care that you could find in America, and that's pretty much what they provided. I was pretty amazed too, because I've worked in very sanitary hospitals, here in the United States, and seen those conditions, and it's not much different. They were able to get the equipment donated. I mean, some of it's obviously not the best equipment, such as they don't have an MRI, but they have an X-ray machine. It's really good facilities. The biggest difference I'd probably say is from where the people come from. They're traveling from 3 hours away. They're traveling on foot. They maybe, if they're lucky, they catch the bus. My mother's a social worker, and my father's a doctor, so both very service-oriented professions. Even in high school, doing community service and things, I had a completely different idea of it. After my brother died, it kind of really hit me how privileged I actually was, and I was more aware of the struggles that other people are going through. some things that I was able to do was basically kind of scrub in and assist the doctor if he had to do any type of minor surgeries. For example, a young boy stepped on, I think maybe it was a nail or a piece of glass that was pretty far into his foot, and we had to numb the area. And handing the doctor certain materials or holding the body in a position that is easier to work with. I got to put on some casts of children that kind of fell and needed to get a cast put on. But most of the time I was basically just watching and observing.
Ella es su hija.
I plan to be a doctor, and there's obviously going to be money to be made in that profession, and a very good living associated with it, but that doesn't mean that I have to have a very good living. I'm not afraid to go to a third world country and spend a big chunk of my time, just going where I'm needed or where medical services are needed. It's just so humbling to go down there and see. It's just completely different. You don't really have that kind of experience or perspective until you see it yourself.
Visit the Cavalier Team Shop online at virginiasports.com and take advantage of this week's special offer.
We had some amazing record-setting individual performances in 2008. Enjoy these moments in this week's Cavalier Flashback.
Cavalier Flashback is brought to you by the Virginia Lottery. More than $3 billion to K-12 public education since 1999. The Virginia Lottery, helping Virginia's public schools.
Cavs have numbers. On the other side, Singletary, right hand, layup good. That too was Sean's 25th point of the game and 2,000th of his career.
It'll be Kellum high in the front court, now left wing to Zoll. Zoll looking back door for right. Oh my goodness!
Still in the end zone out of the shotgun. They give it to Michael. Michael, 5-10, 15, broke it, 20, 25, 30, near side 40, 50-yard line, 40, Michael 30, 20, 15, 10-5 to the house. Wow.
Calvin Baker comes up with a steal. He's got numbers going the other way. Passes off to Landisberg. Got it and a foul.
Well, now Virginia moving with numbers the other direction. Landisberg feeds to Tucker. Goes in the air and it's got blocked. But Landisberg gets it back. Lays it in.
Cedric Pierman is back with us on today's show with another Profiles in Leadership piece. His subject, an inspirational Hall of Fame head coach.
Profiles in Leadership with Cedric Pierman, recognizing outstanding individuals in the Cavalier athletics community.
Debbie Ryan has been the heart and soul of Virginia women's basketball for more than 30 years. She has won over 650 games, taken teams to Final Fours, and mentored some of the greatest people in the sport, including Dawn Staley and Val Ackerman. This summer, Coach Ryan received the ultimate honor of being inducted into the National Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. While her amazing career has brought her and the University of Virginia much well-deserved recognition, she has also transcended basketball and touched thousands of lives.
Other than being nervous about the speech, I think it was just a fabulous weekend. My whole family was there. Jean Corrigan was my escort down the aisle, and so it was really a fun time. And I think that the hardest part of that was trying to be creative with the speech that you're writing, because you have, like, being 32 years at Virginia, I have a lot of people to thank.
Jean Corrigan was my uncle. He's my mentor, he's my motivator.
It was just a great experience. I loved the inductees that were with me, and I knew them all, so it was really so much fun. The whole weekend was just fun, and my whole family enjoyed it. A very proud moment for me to be able to take the team to the Basketball Hall of Fame. I never even thought that that would happen, but here we are playing Tennessee, and that's where the Basketball Hall of Fame is. So it was great to be able to walk them through, and actually there are 2 players' jerseys up in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Monica Wright has a jersey up in there, and so does Charnay Zoll. So there were other players, other Virginia people that were honored in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Val Ackerman's in the Basketball Hall of Fame being honored. So there's a lot of people that, you know, history that our players might not know, and so it was just a great way for our team to see the history and also to actually be a part of my induction. That was kind of neat to see them in the way that they were excited about the locker area and just the whole history of women's basketball in general. You know, it's funny, but this is my life. This is what I know, and it's been a part of my life since I can remember. I've been going to school for what, 40-some years. Every day I go to school. And I love it. I love every minute of it. I especially love the players, and I especially love the interaction with the players and my staff, and those are all really great times for me. This is something that I just love to do every single day, and so I think it's really the love of being here every day.
Our men's basketball team has 3 games in 7 days starting this Wednesday night. We caught up with head coach Dave Lato to talk about the season thus far and the upcoming schedule.
Dave Lato's Cavaliers are in the midst of a 2-week break for final exams after falling to Minnesota on the road December 2nd. Virginia returns to the court on Wednesday, December 17th against Longwood before hosting Auburn on December 20th and Hampton on December 23rd.
Normally coming out of finals, you want to regain your momentum. For us, because we hadn't played the kind of basketball that we wanted to before we went into finals, we've got to find that rhythm, establish it in those 3 games, and really do a good job of getting more confidence, playing more consistently, and playing much more as a team.
UVA scoring leaders through 6 games are freshmen Sylvan Landesberg and Sammy Zaglinski and sophomore Mike Scott.
Good, Mike, good, Mike, good, Mike.
It's now our job, especially in this time off, to get it from more people and more consistently. That Mo can come around, that Jeff can come around, and other guys that we need to have consistent efforts from to put this team together as one to move forward and be successful.
A home game against SEC foe Auburn on December 20th is the featured matchup on next week's home schedule. Family Day packages are available for this Saturday afternoon contest.
Our fans should be really excited about a fellow BCS opponent, a team that's real similar to us that struggled through some injuries last year, have some people back, and trying to get on the right track. And I think they're probably just about where we are in terms of their mentality and things that they're doing well, the things that they're trying to do better. So I would anticipate it will be a very, very interesting matchup.
After Virginia hosts Hampton on December 23rd, the team will break for the holidays before starting the ACC schedule against Georgia Tech in Atlanta on December 28th.
We've got to be ready. All 16 ACC games matter to the utmost importance, this one being the start so early in the season.
Tickets to UVA's 8 ACC home games are on sale. For more information, visit virginiasports.com. Coming up after the break.
Our women's basketball team has logged a lot of miles already this season with 6 road games in 18 days. But they'll be back at John Paul Jones Arena this week for 2 games. Let's find out more in our Women's Basketball Spotlight.
The Women's Basketball Spotlight is presented by the Virginia Athletics Foundation.
This year's schedule just happened to fall the way that it did. It was grueling in terms of the competition we were playing, and the level of the competition was just outstanding. And being in hostile arenas and just, you know, having to drop these freshmen into the fire immediately. I felt really good about the way that we came out of it. I think that we showed a lot about what we're going to be and how we're going to go about things. We still have a long way to go. We're still a work in progress. But players like Ariana Moore and Chelsea Shine have really shown that they can play at this level. And Whitney Edwards has been probably the most steady first year we've had in a long time, who gets on the floor and does what she's supposed to do, and she just has been really a great surprise for us. Even though they might not know everything, they follow the lead of the upperclassmen, which is great. They're learning about the ins and outs of Virginia basketball and what's expected every day and the level that's expected every single day. And that's hard for any first-year player because they just aren't pushed like that in high school. So this is a whole different level of competition for them. But I've been very proud of the way they've handled it and very proud of their performances. Being in exams is a tough time of the year for a student, and there's not a lot of sleep during that time. So first thing I have to do is get them back on their feet and rested a little bit, and yet at the same time get them basketball ready again. And we'll start that you know, as soon as we possibly can, as soon as exams are over. We just have to get them basketball ready again, and that'll take a little bit of conditioning and weight training as well as some really good time on the floor. We play Monmouth in our next game. Very high RPI team, a team that's very well coached and should be, you know, a very good contest for us. And hopefully we'll be able to get some players some playing time. We'll have to wait and see as the game unfolds. And then after Monmouth, we have 2 days to prepare for Mount St. Mary's, another regional team that this is going to be a big game for them, and we have to be very, very ready and sharp, and hopefully we can get our players to that level of sharpness that I really look for before I send them home for Christmas, and hopefully get a lot of playing time for the younger players.
Thanks for watching Cavalier Sports Weekly. We'll be back next Sunday for our final show in 2008. I'm Kelly Quinn. Until next time, go Hoos!
Cavalier Sports Weekly is presented by the Virginia Lottery. The Virginia Lottery, helping Virginia's public schools. And brought to you in part by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.